eyes so that I know like when I'm doing something, when I'm teaching something, who's going to be benefiting from that, okay? I'm not going to teach you guys something that is not going to be beneficial for you. Why everyone's late?
I don't know.
We're not gonna wait for them. Okay. I was talking to Sina and Sina said that you guys had a few classes about volume, right? Volume in Houdini. So you know basics of volume.
So was it ISO and RT for Kindle that we just use that on
I saw that.
ISO also that no
And what?
cloud. Cloud.
Cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember I said we have volume, normal volume, regular volume, or EV. Can you tell you guys anything about density, temperature?
Sure.
No? Okay.
There was no damage information. So that and it was just like okay, wait, and you get to shit like change the slide. Something beautiful.
What we're doing. I can tell you guys to just put the note in there and then it's gonna work, but then if I don't tell you how it works, and what, what the fundamental of understanding volumes in Houdini,
That's what he did. That's what he did.
that's why you didn't.
Yeah.
How many of you guys are not here right now? And I have to repeat myself again, because and then that I have to repeat myself in case. I get it? Jackson? Um,
Explain this thing.
Time distance, yeah. Okay. Because eventually I have to repeat myself. You see that the sign is not part of like the class? The guy was sitting there.
It was too hard. It was not I found like the old one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have explained. It was supposed to be. But we haven't seen it. So.
I mean,
Yeah, no. All the service. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually prefer this session that I'm explaining what volume every one of you guys are here.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I don't go deep into like explaining different volumes because I want to here. I'm just going to tell you guys something really basic so that we can do something really used to it. Next session, I want you guys, one of you guys, to send a text message to everyone, please be here at 4:30. I'm going to be explaining some fundamental things about volume, and everyone needs to learn that. Okay, otherwise you're going to be all over the picture. Trust me, you will. Okay. Okay. So we're not going to do this, as so many of you guys are not here. But I'm gonna make it simple. It's simple. We're gonna be talking. Forget about this. Smoke. If you know smoke, what is going to be? What is the smoke? Smoke is volume. Any type of smoke that you're doing, any type of fire, all of these are volume, right? With volume. The first thing that you need to know about volume is having this. Density. What is density? Density is literally what you're saying is small. This is literally what you're saying. Density is just like the main field of volume. That's called density. It's always in density. Creating sort of like fiber simulations, smoke simulations. When I say fiber simulation, it means fire. For creating fire, for creating a smoke, you always need density field. Density is volume. Okay? If you're doing fire, the other thing that you need is temperature. The reason that you need temperature is because the fire rises, right? When there's a fire and you set something on fire, the fire just goes up. That's called buoyancy. Don't worry about this. I'm just going to explain everything in like next session. I'm just going over everything just very fast because I wanted you guys to do something quickly for today. But I'll go deeply about all of this again next session. Okay? Buoyancy is what causes the fire that go up. For buoyancy, you need temperature. Okay? For smoke, you need density. For fire, you need density and temperature. If you don't have temperature for even smoke, it can't rise up very well. So if remember, for buoyancy, for rising up, we need temperature. And density is density, just the volume. These two are very important. It's good. These are just fundamental volume talks, volume representations. Okay? What I want to do today is just do something really simple, very, very simple. Just putting a source on a sphere and just creating a volume out of that. Just a volume, simple volume. Okay? And I teach you how to do it. Very simple. The cool thing that I want to teach you guys today that is going to be very interesting is having particle that goes inside the volume and it moves with the density, the velocity of the So imagine that, for example, you have a smoke, right? A smoke like going everywhere. You don't want it to look like a smoke. You want to have particle, but the particle, instead of using pulse force, you want to use the velocity of this smoke to drive the particles. It gives us a really, really cool effect. So many of the effects, like for example, Harry Potter, so many of them use this methodology. That we create smoke first, and then we drive the particles with the force from the smoke. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Because when you have smoke, it has a velocity. What is driving the volume to just move around? That's the velocity inside, right? So the velocity of this, it creates a force. It creates a velocity force going out, going everywhere, right? If you have a source for particles, if you advance particles inside the volume with the source, all the particles are going to be moving like this, the way that's like stored. Exactly. So you see how with pump force, it's so hard to get it right, and it's whatever that you do, it doesn't look organic. Thank you so much. The organic is the word that I was looking for. If you have a smoke simulation, and if you deploy the velocity of the smoke particle, now the particles are going to run the smoke. And that's exactly what we do like for movies like Harry Potter, like so many of the things I do sound my demo though, I actually use that as well for the body particles. So I think it looks really cool. The trick is using millions of particles. And when I say millions, I mean like 100 million of particles.
But like really expensive.
It's very expensive, and that's why you divide it into different sections. You remember I'm talking about wedging. Okay. So we have, let's say, 10 million particles for one bed, 10 million particles for another bed, and then we have 10 edges. So 100 million particles for one simulation. Do you remember I had this red specter in my demo? It's exactly the same thing. Like literally exactly the same thing. I did a smoke and the particles inside the smoke that goes with the velocity of the smoke. It's super duper simple. I mean, I'm just gonna teach you guys in like 10 minutes and then you guys are like, wow, that's so simple. It's super easy. The reason that I'm teaching you this is because uh, it gives your, if you decide to use it in your final project, it just gives your final projects a very nice touch. Even if you use it in somewhere like really small,
Yeah.
because it's very simple, it just gives your project like more complex. So what I mean, it's longer, right? It's longer, just make it look nicer. And also it means like, something else, it becomes somehow volume sort, somehow particle sort, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into that. Super simple. I want you guys to just focus on my monitor for probably 5 minutes. It's very, very simple. I'm just going to get rid of everything that okay, never mind. I don't get rid of it. I'll just put down a new one. Geometry. You don't need to follow me, guys. I'll just give you guys time, okay? Just focus on what I'm doing. Let's say particles. Okay, inside. I'm gonna do a sphere. Okay. Easiest way, just for this time, let's just use a sparse below smoke. I can create it from scratch, but I want to do that next session. Okay. I don't even know how to use it. Did it work? Yes. Okay. Yes, it worked. You know what? I guess it used its own source. Oh yeah, it used its own source. Okay, never mind. Then we just use its own source. Okay. But the focus of what I'm going to teach you guys is not the volume by itself, because I'm going to be talking about volume next session in deeply, okay? So for now, we just created this volume. Don't worry about this. I'm just going to teach all of this to you guys next session. But look at the volume. Let me just change the background to something dark. Okay. So first thing first, where is the dot network? It's here. Let's see if I'm happy with it. I'm not happy with it. Don't worry about this. I'll teach you guys next session. Oh God. Shape. Disturbance 20. Turbulence, wind. You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna get rid of it. What? Hmm. What is it called? The new solver that they created? Hold on. I'm just gonna do this myself, but forget it. Because I don't know the other ways. So I'll just go my way, okay? Don't worry if you don't understand what I'm doing. I just don't know how to use the shelf tool. I just wanted to make it easier, but I don't know how to use the shelf tool. Don't worry about what I'm doing, guys. I'll teach you next session. Um.
Like you said, had there's you know, someone needs to make it work. It's so cute. Need that most. When I do that. It is so cute. It is so. Oh, bring it. Oh, it's such a. Just I'm gonna use it right now. I'm going to use. Yes. Yeah. Right there. The next part is out. Honest, Josh, good Josh. Have a great version. Researchers.
Okay. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't know how to use the shell tool. I just have to create everything from scratch. I tried. I couldn't. Anyways, volume. Now we have volume. See that, right? Just took me some time to create it. And then I know how to use the shell tool. Okay, I don't know it there. Sorry, I tried it. I tried to do
Doesn't want that actually.
Huh?
You don't want that for the show.
Yeah, I don't know how to use the shell tool. But if you can use it, go with the shell tool. For now, it's fine. Because for now, I just don't want to teach you how to work, how to create everything from scratch. I'll try to figure it out myself, but, so we have density right now. when we have a dog network for volume, or for example, for a small for fire and everything, what we're gonna do is after we simulate something and we're happy with it, we're going to be caching our fields. Meaning that out of the dog network, there are going to be some fields, like for example, there is going to be density because we fed density inside the dog network. We fed temperature, the network, the dog network. We also have velocity. So the very simple thing that we're going to be getting from the dog network is going to be density. If you have temperature, remember we need temperature to rise the smoke. If you don't have temperature, the smoke fire, it doesn't work. I mean, it's just going to be staying like in the same place. And velocity. For the effect that I was telling you there, we don't really need this. The only thing we need is the velocity. So all I did here, we don't need the smoke. We only need the velocity from the dot network. Okay? So we don't care about the look of the smoke. The only thing that we care about is the velocity of that. But why do we do it? Why do we need to say this? It's because we have to get like the density in a way that we like it, because we know that the particles are going to be similar to that, right? Okay. So before I did, or we will use it. Like I want to cache it, we don't need to cache it density. Does everyone know what caching is?
Just basically just take all the material out of frame, if they want the local drive and right, because if you want the CO2 trying to into the right.
So let's say, for example, if you're simming something, right now, for example, like your previous sim, how long did it take for simulation? How long?
Probably cache it, like maybe like stuff.
Yeah.
Less than
2 minutes, okay. You might want into like simulation that it takes 24 hours, right? So here's the issue. If you're simming something for 24 hours, you need to have a way of saving it, because every time that you want to use it, you can't simulate it. You have to, every time that you want to go back to that simulation, you want to show it to other people, it needs to be saved somewhere. So what we do is that we put a file note and we save it inside the hard drive. It needs to be saved somewhere. If you change something in your simulation, it needs to be cached again. So you need to rewind this, or you need to version it up and then recache it again. Does that make sense? Because we can't go back, like 2 minutes is fine. 2 minutes is nothing. The chances that you have a simulation that takes 2 minutes is almost zero, like introduction, right? Everything takes time. Everything takes time. So always you need to cache it. If you work in a company, they all have pipelines, meaning that they all have tools for caching your simulations. Right now, there is no pipeline for Houdini over here. So you need to use Houdini nodes for caching out your simulations. Okay? And I'm not going to teach you guys how to do it. But out there, when you work in a company, and every company has different pipeline. So like, for example, when I work at Sony, the name of the node that was used for caching was different from like the node that I used at Sony, or I used at Wan-Jung or Subvex. All these companies, they have different pipelines and the name of the node is different. But I understand the basics of what this node is doing. It's just the name is different, different companies. Okay. So I know that after I simulate it once and I'm happy with it, then I have to cache it. So next time I don't need to simulate it again. I only have to like go back to my cache and then just read the cache. So what I'm going to do right now, going back to the computers, I'm just going to be caching this volume once I'm happy with it. You will need to simulate it once. And if you're happy with it, then you're going to be caching it. So let's say, for example, I'm happy with it, right? Boom. Okay, I have enough details. Hey, that looks fine, whatever. Okay. .io. And don't worry, I will tell you guys all of this again. So in here, Control C, Control V, here, smoke. So what I'm getting out of the simulation is density, velocity, rest attribute. I don't even need this, so I'm not going to import it. CD, I don't care about CD, I don't care about temperature. The only thing that I really need for the effect that we're doing is the velocity. But it's still, hey, that's fine. I can just write the density as well. So density and velocity, okay? Everything else, I don't need it. This node, DOP import field, I'm just importing the fields from DOP network. Does that make sense? This is my simulation, okay? This is my simulation. After the simulation is over now. After the simulation, I'm importing the fields inside the DOP import, and this is what I'm going to be caching. Okay, this is where I'm deciding what I want to import from the DOP network. And you see, I unchecked rest, temperature, and CD. I don't need these ones. If I click on them, that's fine. I'm just going to write them down in the disk drive, but it's just extra information. I don't need them. It just depends on what you need this information for. So by default, it just put this file cache node for me. These are all fine. It's just going to save them wherever like your thing is saved. Your what is it called? Your file is saved. Right now, my file is not even saved because I don't even have a project. Let's just set a project very quickly. Where can I save this, guys? Is there, I mean, can I save it anywhere? Do you guys have any network? I don't know. H? I need to save this somewhere, but I just don't want to save it in a place that is going to screw up your network.
So that's because of, yeah, that's.
Okay, let me save it on desktop. Never mind. I'm just going to save the file on desktop. I mean, you shouldn't do it. You should have a proper. I'm just gonna be honey file. I'm just gonna name it advect particle. Advect particle. Okay. Okay. Now that I have saved my file, I'm just gonna name this one smoke cache. So as soon as I save to disk, it's gonna start from the first frame, and it's going to save. This one says 1 to 240. I'm just gonna say 1 to 100. So we're going to be caching 100 frames. See what happens. 1, 2, 3, 20, 25, 28. This is caching. It's simulating and writing those frames to the disk. Okay. Okay, 1 minute, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1 minute, 20 seconds. The reason that it took not very long time is because the resolution of my sim wasn't high. Because I only need the velocity, I don't need the density. Otherwise, if I need the density to be rendered, you have to go very much higher and the simulation is going to take much longer. Now I'm just going to say, you see this load from this? So now with this one, see? I'm not simulating anymore. I'm just reading from this one. If I go back to this, it needs to simulate from the first frame. And again, it's going to take some time. You see, it's going to take time. I'm not using this. Cancel, go out, and reading from this, I can go to any frame that I want. Does that make sense? 100 frames. That's how many frames that I use. 100 frames. Apply. Okay. So look, I saved this to the disk. Does that make sense, everyone? Is clear for everyone? What's that? Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. There you go. This is saved. This is saved to this. You see how I'm scrubbing like through this because it's saved to the disk. Does caching make sense now to everyone?
Yeah.
So next time, even if it's like this is look, it's not even connected anymore. But because it's saved, look, it's working. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I need to break it first. Because this is linked to an script, right? Delete channel. Up to this point, you don't need to know anything about what I did with the smoke. I only need you guys to just see what I did, okay? But me doing this, I'll explain next session how to create it, okay? But I want you to understand that I cached a volume simulation. Does that make sense to everyone? You have 3 fields. You saw that. I showed you guys density, temperature, velocity, CE, and breath position. I didn't need those. Only thing that I needed was velocity and density. And look, if I right click on this, look, density, velocity, density, velocity, and velocity is a vector, density is a float. Okay. So we have velocity, density, velocity, density. Now, here's the fun part. This is my source, right? If I do pop network and I use it as a source, right? Going from the first node, it's emitting points, right? Let's just put the points inside the smoke, so like that. Scatter. Right now we're putting points inside the sphere as well. Going like this. Okay. You can see that points are being emitted. Not a scatter. We're using points. Bird. All points. What? Points. Yeah. It's emitting points, but they're not doing anything. So let's say birth. If I do pop force, for example, and if I say go up, now all the points going to start going up. But here's the fun part. I want to say, hey, I don't need the pop force. I need something else. Pop advect by volume. This is the node that we want. It means advect the pop network inside the volume. It's asking me where is your DOP network? Here is my DOP network. I'm gonna put that on the second input. That is my second input. Okay, it's gonna be looking for val. Do we have val? Yes, we have val. Look what happens. What does it remind you of? Exactly. Right? So if I change the velocity to something smaller, and now if I go D and then inside geometry, instead of points, I go pixel. And if I render this, it's gonna look beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can give it some color. You know how many cool effects you can create with this one? And imagine if it's I give it like more colors. I'm sorry? Yeah, and I'm just going to give it more points.
Why did you have any also?
Hold on, hold on. I'll tell you. Okay, you remember I told you that you don't need to use the trail pump anymore?
Yeah.
That's why. Because if you render this with motion blur,
Yeah.
it's not have exactly the same effect, and it's very much myself. Why you not have to?
Oh, it's like, oh wow, it looks way better. I was like, looking at it, I was like, oh, that's great. It looks even better than there. It looks even better than there.
How long did it take, guys? How long did it take?
It only took like a few minutes. Wow, it looks so cool there. Hey.
You understand the methodology behind what I told you guys? You can create so many cool things in the future. Believe me, this effect that I have to you guys right now is one of the fundamentals of creating cool things in effects. Okay? I'm gonna just require to let you know how many effects you can create with this one. I go back to my demo reel and I can tell you how many effects I have created with this one. Okay? You remember about healthcare parts? We have something similar. We have something similar with the smoke as well. It's more difficult to control it, but there are so many different things that you can do in your smoke simulation. Because the smoke simulation is more organic, the word that's like this word is very, very good because like it doesn't feel like you're adding velocity yourself. It's just something very organic that is driving these particles. You see what I mean? If your smoke simulation looks nice, then this particle simulation is going to be awesome. But everyone's going to be surprised.
It's like, oh,
And the way that you do this, it's just one second. That's the thing. You have one simulation for your smoke. You're happy with it. To put that one node, you understand the basics. You only need the velocity. The only thing that you need for your that node to work with, you don't need the density. The only thing is velocity because velocity means, who knows what velocity means? It's not speed.
it's not speaking. No, I can look for information.
Velocity means how long it's gonna take from this point to go from A to point D. Okay, so we said, for example, it's gonna take 1 second per meter. So to travel 1 meter, right? So it's gonna take one second for this to travel 1 meter. So that's the velocity, right? So this velocity is needed, the most needed thing in all your simulations in FX. In all the FX simulation, everything, you need velocity. We need points, we need voxels. Voxels is involved. I'm just going to explain about this about next session about voxels and volume. What is moving them? Velocity. How are we doing that? We're applying velocity from outside of dot network inside the dot network. That's exactly what I do right now. I calculate the velocity based off of the smoke simulation. I brought that inside the pop simulation. Instead of using pop force, I said, hey, I don't need the pop force. I need something more organic. I'm getting the velocity from the smoke simulation. Bring the velocity from smoke simulation. Now drive the particle with the smoke simulation velocity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Good. Use a shell tool to create, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know that. Do that, here we go. But from it, for next session, I teach you how to do this calculation yourself. I think, the first one that I did was correct, I just didn't know on the calculation. If you press enter, it just like, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Because this is not.
Then you
But I just,
oh, what was that?
Last year it works.
Oh, okay.
It works, it's just very complicated.
Okay.
And maybe it's not. It's okay, just work it, that's fine. It's okay. Yeah. There's. W. Just use this one, just use this one, everyone can add it on any words. And then press enter. Yeah. This is your parts condition. This already means creating your velocity though. Wow. This time, yeah. That's the thing, and also. I'm saying.
Yes.
It's in effect. I know. I mean, I know that it's not right, but it's just. Greatness.
Oh, so, just Oh, sorry.
I'm just gonna go one by one and I just, I'm gonna help you, okay? You'll do that. I'm just gonna use that here. Yes. So it's just, that is worse. Always. It's really bad. Oh. Ah. Other problem. Small cash is here and then it's also. We got the. That's not right. I'll take over we have. Stop. Here. This is that. The first. Okay. We had okay, going back. Here. Prominent part. Is sphere and swords. Second include the here. How many people we have? Density velocity. It's the vector. Relative city velocity. It's in the second input. Second one is first. And put this one to the second. Okay. Okay. If you guys want to make something more complex, guys, make sure that you're happy with your volume simulation, with the slope simulation, hash it out, and then use it as your source, as your volume source, as your velocity source. Here. The prompted for you can have the first input, the second input should be the velocity. All you have to do here, we can like volume. Third.